Hello again, everyone. Hoping you can hear me nice and well and you're having a lovely evening to start with. Today's quotation, what it's going to be about and what it's regarding, is the idea that everyone is self-made, but only successful people will admit that. And I think that's true. You never really see anyone that's in a bad spot taking full accountability of their life. So everyone is self-made, and only the successful ones will admit that. And obviously success is what you determine it to be. So it doesn't just mean financial success. Though financial success is what you're going to see a lot of people be using to justify the fact that they're self-made. You always see successful people, they always mention how they got there themselves. It's very rare you see a successful person say, oh, it was all handed to me. And there is obviously scenarios where it probably was handed to them, or a significant investment was, but they still put in the work and did with that money. They had a better starting point, but they still changed it into something. Or maybe they didn't, right? But then they're probably going to be more depressed because they don't feel like they've truly earned that way of living. But either way, the point still stands that everyone is self-made, and only the successful people will admit that. And I find that just with mentality anyway. Yet again, it's all how you define success. But I would say as soon as you can take full responsibility and accountability for your life and understand that it's your life, if you want something to happen, you've got to make it happen. That is when truly you'll be able to change your way of thinking and actually change your life. You can't just expect that, something's going to happen for you. Everyone is self-made. So, yeah. It's really as simple as that. And I think when I kind of realised that and I stopped acting like a victim, saying, oh, I'm going to be sad because of what's happened when I was younger, and I'm going to let, I had an identity. I was this sad person. I was almost like an emo kid at one point. When I was 18 and I just started my university, in Bournemouth, basically. I was very unsure of myself. So long story short, I started university. Then that would have been September. Then in December time, I left and I deferred for a year, and then I went back the next year. And that's because the first time I went, those first few months, I was so unsure. I didn't realise how many insecurities I had. And my whole identity was that I was someone that was broken and sad. And that was my identity. I severely lost weight, not intentionally, it was just my lifestyle. I think I just felt sorry for myself, and I didn't know how to cook food and stuff, and then all my other insecurities were coming out at me. And I went, so I'm 6'1" if I'm being nice, and I was at my lowest point. I was 57 kilograms, so I was severely, you could see it even in my face. It was gone, and I had hair, very long hair down to here. I almost looked like a woman, being realistic. And I've got quite pretty eyes, so I think I always have quite a feminine look anyway. But anyway, point being, we're going off topic there. That was definitely my darkest moment in life, and I realised that my whole identity was I was this sad emo kid, and I would actively spend nights alone. I would go out at 11 p.m. with a skateboard or something, trying to be cool and edgy because I thought that was the way to be, and I would go around Bournemouth, sometimes be at the beach, and I'd stay there till 3-4 a.m. in the morning, just on my own. But not in a nice way, not like I was experiencing life. I was just there sad, trying to get attention from people. I remember, I'm sure I put on my Snapchat private story, little photo, weird cringe shit you do when you're trying to get attention. And realistically, all it was is I didn't, the attention that I wanted is I wanted people to know that I was suffering. I wanted people to see that I was sad, and I wanted people to understand that. And to, I guess, reaffirm my belief that I am this sad kid, and I wanted everyone to kind of see, oh, he's misunderstood. but it was pointless. It didn't do anything for me apart from more harm and just more like I just viewed myself as this bad, no, not bad, just like this misunderstood person, like no one else could understand me, and that did not help me at all. And then ironically, I think, so there was someone that I knew in that university who was dating my flatmate, and he was a very confident, charismatic character, right? And he warmed to me, but I remember how much energy he had. He had didn't seem like he was insecure, where he was. Yeah, I remember this because I was a big game. I was playing Counter-Strike, CS:GO, and this guy was playing Minecraft, and he had 2 girls in his room playing Minecraft. Or if I was playing CS:GO with him, he'd have the girls in the room in the background while he was playing with me, and I was like, yo. Just because of confidence alone, he made that cool. Whereas I would have I don't even know, if I had a girl in my room at that point, I wouldn't have been comfortable enough to just get on my game and play. But he was just so confident, and I didn't realise it at the time, but then when I left uni and I spent time working on myself, to start with, I started going to the gym, and I was back at home, so I was eating correctly. I was putting on a bit of mass. It wasn't massive, but for how far down I was, it was good for me, and it really I just embodied the personality that I saw this other guy have, right? I saw how he acted, and I was really trying to be like that and just be confident and charismatic, what I saw him to be. And I carried that through with me, and it did help. Then when I went to uni the second time, so after I'd deferred, I went back the next September, and it was a fresh start. It's not like all the other people knew me. The people were in the year above, so I went to a fresh accommodation, and I just remember embodying that guy's personality. Obviously not fully, right? It's still me, but I used aspects of the confidence I saw in him and implemented that within myself. One thing I remember doing when I first arrived was I made an effort instantly. I knocked on, there was only 2 people that were in there before me, knocked on their doors, spoke to them, and just made sure I initiated conversation. And then I met one of my best mates, George, there, and we walked around. But I think because I just came in with that mentality that I was confident, then the group that formed around it, then we made a friend group, and then we got other people involved, and I just kind of kept with this energy to the point where I didn't feel like I was faking it anymore, because that's how everyone knew me, and it was that environment. I was always that energetic, charismatic person, and I became this very confident guy, to a certain extent. I still wasn't insanely confident, but within that group I was very confident. And the main thing I realised was just not to be ashamed of things, and just things that I would have previously thought, was that not cool, should I be insecure about that? I didn't care. I just went with confidence, and it worked. And then I remember when I was in my room and I had people around, and I would get on a game, and I remember living the same reality that I thought the other guy did. I was playing CS:GO with some of my friends, and there was 3 girls on my bed. One of them was my girlfriend. It's not like I was fucking a playboy shagging them all. But the point is, I just had the confidence to be able to do that while having people in the background, and it was just, I had this confidence, which was it was a great feeling, right? Now, the reason I'm bringing that up, and I can go on to explain more about how it developed, but that really did change my life, and it kind of got me into this state of realising, okay, I had control on it, and I could be self-made in that sense. It's not like, you're born with one thing or born with the other. You can create these things how you perceive it to be. So that really changed my outlook, and then university was great for me, and I stayed on and I finished university. Had a great group of friends around me. Still have a great group of friends. And then all other people I came in contact with, I was just a charismatic person. I was friendly. It just worked well. So I think that is kind of when I started realizing to take a bit more accountability. And then I started getting into more self-improvement stuff in my second year. But that first year was just pure confidence and going along with vibes. And then second year is when I started hitting the gym and got into meditation, a few other things. But I wasn't aware of all of that. Now I understand kind of how that happened, from seeing one person with great confidence and how that impacted my life. But at the time I wasn't too sure, right? I think I just copied him without consciously doing it. Or maybe I did. I think I did go kind of consciously, okay, I'm going to try and be like him, be more outgoing, so I can be this confident person. And then there you go. And then you just carry that with you. Now that's part of your identity, and it helps with a lot of things. Like even probably doing this, I would have been so shy or insecure to do anything like this in the past. But because I built up this idea of who I am now, and I guess that comes maybe to ego, right? Like ego is your identity. You can change that, you know. It's whatever you view it to be. So if you are unhappy, just why are you unhappy? What can you do to change it? And you've got to believe that you can be that person. And I'm not big on saying fake it till you make it, because I am a strong believer that you have to have it embodied within your subconscious mind. However, for me, the reason it worked is because I may have faked it the first week when I got to university, but then it became embodied within me, especially with the environment I had around me, because these people saw me as that confident person that I'd maybe put on, or I think there was actually genuine confidence, because it wasn't like I was trying to be confident, I was just not caring about what people thought of me to a certain extent, right? And I could be weird, I was being a bit weird, like a weird, goofy guy, but I did it with confidence. And then everyone just saw that as me, like saw me as that person who had this confidence. So it just kept reinforcing that belief that I had in my mind that I was confident, to the point where it just like got so deep inside. And it's just so weird, because those people that see me like this, if they saw me in that first year, I was a whole different person. And it's just so interesting to understand. Like they'll never know what I was like. You know, I've got like photos of what I look like, but like you can't really get the essence of who I was. But I was a victim. And then I became not a victim, and I took responsibility, and I changed my own life. And I'm consistently on that wave now, where I realise it's all in my hands. That's why I've moved out to Koh Samui. That's why I left a job that I was doing well at. You know, when I could have had a stable career path, and I could have gone to be a manager, and then maybe a year down the line, 2 years, gone up from a manager, and I could have kept working my way up the company, but I would have always been working for someone else. And I realised, that's not what I want to do. I want more freedom, and I want my own time. So I'm going to take this step, and I'm going to put myself in an uncomfortable scenario, and I'm going to change my reality, and I'm going to take responsibility in doing that to make sure I show up and I do the work, and just making sure my mindset is strong and I deliver on the results that I want to deliver and see. And that's exactly what I've done, and I'm going to consistently keep doing. And I recommend everyone to do that and have a look in the mirror and say, stop like having excuses. Like, I know things can happen. I'm not going to go into my story. I don't think it's necessary, but I do know some people may look at me and, you don't know my story, so you could have just assumed that I've had it easy my whole life. And I'm sure there's certain people who've had it harder than me, and some people that obviously have had it easier as well. But that's besides the point. It doesn't matter how hard you've had it. We've heard so many success stories of people that had really hard upbringings. The point is, they took their life into their own hands, took accountability, and made the life that they want from it, which is what I recommend everyone else to do. So genuinely sit down with yourself and understand what you feel like you're lacking, or the person that you aspire to be. And this is why I do like movies. I think movies are good for it. I think that helped with the charisma for me. Because I remember watching some Leonardo DiCaprio movies, and he just had this essence and this character in every movie. And I think Catch Me If You Can was a big one that I really liked, and just how he could change to certain scenarios and confidence took him there. I would recommend watching that. And I believe that character also helped after I watched that, like going into that second year at uni, I tried to be a bit more like him. But yeah, just imagine who it is that you want to be. And yes, as I was saying with movies, I think they're good for that because they can give you different characters and different perspectives of life. I mean, I know they're characters, you shouldn't give yourself an unrealistic scenario because, they're movies, right? They're going to be made to be not boring, right? They're going to have extra characters, but still you can look at them and take attributes that you want from people and implement it into your own life. But do that with everyone you see around you. If you see someone and you're like, oh, I kind of like that guy, like, what did you like about him? Okay. Oh, so you liked, maybe, the way he spoke, the way he conducted himself, the way he, sat, his stance, or his swagger. Just, if you like something from it, but okay, well, is that something you want to have? Or do you like it, but you don't want to have that? Then that's also fine. But just understand what it is you want to be, or who it is you want to be. What character in this game that we're playing called life. Who is it that you want to be? Decide on it. And it can change, but decide on it for now and the next year, or the person you currently want to be, and become that person. Act like that person, and tell yourself you are that person. And then you'll start seeing change. You'll see it, and you'll get accustomed to it. And then you can keep doing that, and then you can start looking at a further goal. Right? You could look at a goal of who you want to be a month from now, And then you can also look like, 2 years from now, 20 years from now, like, do you want to have kids when you're older? What type of father do you want to be? What do you want to look like? Do you want to be in shape? Or do you want to be a dad that's got a bit of a beer belly, and it's a bit more relaxed about life? It doesn't matter. It's all up to you, but who is it you want to be? And this is why a lot of the time people become like their parents, is because that's what they've seen growing up, so they assume that's what they want to be. And that's why, like, relationships between mother and father are so important for kids growing up, because you see how love is given. So if you have a toxic relationship, or like, if your parents have like a bad relationship and people end up, maybe one of them abuses the other, it's quite common that people find themselves in relationships like that in the future, because they've seen that as the norm, or they've seen it so much and they're so angry about it that they completely go the other way. Like another classic saying where it's like, if you've got 2 kids, let's call one Mark and the other one Henry. Big up Mark Henry. Both Mark and Henry, they're brothers. Their dad's an alcoholic, and beats his wife. Now Mark follows his dad's footsteps, becomes an alcoholic because he's seen that and that's all he knows is normal, and beats his wife in the future because he thinks that's the normal way, or maybe because he resents his dad for it, but he's there's part of him that thinks that he's still like that. And then you have Henry. Henry sees that happen and doesn't want to be like that at all, to the point where he doesn't drink any alcohol in his whole life, and he finds a woman and treats her very well. But do you get what I mean? Like, I could go on and explain, but it really is just how you take life. And if you see something, and that's why there's positive influences in your life, when you can look at people, like in movies where I'll look at someone and I want to be like that person, and you can use that to implement yourself. But there's also negative influences which you can turn into a positive. You can see someone, maybe you had a friend and you didn't like how he acted, or even with positive influences, you can look at someone and be like, okay, well, I like those things about that person, but I don't like that. So just take the good things and make sure you don't take the negatives. So, yeah, I think that's why, for me, when people dislike someone and have a strong dislike and they badmouth them so much, I've never really, there's been people I've disliked, but most people I've seen in my life who I've been friends with or in an acquaintance with, I've seen good and bad in them. And I think, okay, well, maybe I want to be more like that. I like that aspect about them, but I don't want to be like that. And then you just form who you want to be. Well, that's how I've done it anyway. I'm not saying that's the right way. I mean, I think it's easier. My father passed when I was quite young, so I didn't have someone to maybe look at and be like, that's how I want to be. I saw a lot of positive traits in my mum that I've taken, and I think, okay, she's very hard working with things, and I've taken that, and that's how I want to be. But because I don't think I had a dad, I think it kind of gave me a bit of a clear slate into, when I look at people, what I want to take from them. Whereas I think maybe, and I'm not saying it's a disadvantage, but other people, I think that's where you see a lot of people become like their dad, or obviously, or like their mum. So as much as it's been a curse that I haven't had a father, there's also a blessing to it, right? I've allowed myself to be more open and receptive to people around me and take attributes that I think are good and bad. Anyway, the rant's going on here a bit, but that's the best way I could describe it. Definitely a longer video. But yeah, I find this very interesting, and I think it's an interesting mentality towards life. It's not really fake it till you make it, but it's take what you want from people, but not like a selfish way. Just look at people and weigh them up in your brain. Just see positives and negatives, it's fine. You don't have to just see positives and assume everyone's perfect, because not everyone's perfect. And you don't have to become perfect. I was just smoking a cigarette. That's not perfection. But, I've probably seen that in a few movies, and I like the look of it, and it's kind of, at university I probably had a few, and now it's just stuck with me a bit more. But if I really wanted to change that, and I sat down and evaluated it, then yes, I would change it, and I would tell myself that's not who I want to be. But right now I'm young and I'm healthy, so I probably don't care as much. As soon as I start getting a bit older and I'm probably more worried about my health, I'm sure I'll want to change. But yeah, that's about it. I think if there's any questions, put it in the comments below. I mean, again, right now it's just me recording these. I don't think anyone's watching, but I just like the fact that this is out there. And in the future to come, if anyone has any questions, let me know. I know I keep saying I want to do more formulated videos and actually maybe edit them or maybe write a script so it's a bit more compact. This is 20 minutes, try and make it more concise. But I also like the freedom of just being able to click record and then let my mind wander and start expressing the feelings that I have towards life. So that's kind of what this has been about. Yeah, have a lovely evening, have a lovely day, have a lovely morning. Sunday the 28th of December currently, soon going into the new year, 2026, year of the horse. It's my year, mate. I'm telling you, I'm year of the horse, 2002 born. So anyway, guys, have a lovely day. And as I said before, but enjoy, guys.